Welcome to this week's episode of Forgiving the Girl Inside, a Matter of the Heart. We have the beautiful Stephanie Shaw with us today as our special guest, and she is going to be sharing all about the mindset, the relationship with our mind. And if you know me, you've listened to other episodes. Captivating our thoughts is so important, and what we believe we receive when we process our mind, our thoughts, and we think about what we're thinking about. It really is the crux of all that we do. And this in relationship to our physical bodies, our metabolism, hormones, inflammation, all of these things, it all begins with mindset. So I'm super excited to hear Stephanie's story, hear what she does, and the modality that she's used to help her on her healing journey. She is a nutrition strategist who helps high-performing women get the body they desire and the confidence they deserve. She helps women peel back the layers of this intricate health puzzle down to the DNA, and she'll let you know how she does that in a minute. And this shows them precisely what to do. As a result, her clients lose and keep off the weight and build a sustainable lifestyle of confidence, energy, and love for their bodies. So all that yo-yo dieting, all that craziness that we have that keeps us stuck, that is just wave bye-bye to it, right?
Exactly.
Just say goodbye.
What's time for that?
Exactly. So welcome, Stephanie. I'm so intrigued about the DNA and how this all works with the mindset. So tell us, how did you get started in all of this?
Yeah, but even before that, when you said think about what you're thinking about, I'm like, I say that all the time. I love this woman. So I got started. It was not a natural path. I'll just say that much. Was in New Orleans one day on a business trip and just got sick. Pain in the jaw, numbness in the jaw, tingling hands and feet. But what I didn't think about that day was that slowly I was allowing my body to get more and more sick. I had lost hair. I was just anxious quite a bit. So I got to this place because over a two-year time period, I went to 18 different doctors, 2 were renowned medical facilities, $20,000 out of pocket, trying to figure out what was going on. So why was my heart beating fast after I ate? Or again, why did I lose hair, twitching in my eye? I just had like every symptom possible. And they test for different things like Addison's disease, cancer, lupus, different autoimmunes, but nothing came back. There was nothing there that was saying that I had anything, which is a blessing. But during the course of that time, I kind of had to figure out how to get my body healed. So during the 2 years, 12 hours a day, I was in the bed practically. So I started studying nutrition and ended up with 2 certifications in holistic nutrition. And when there was an opportunity for me to close the nonprofit that I was running, I'm like, there is no way that I can't use this new knowledge to support other women. And that's exactly what I started to do. I always love food and I can talk about food for like hours and hours and hours. So being able to merge nutrition with health was just a kind of a no-brainer for me. What I found was that I didn't need any medicine, drugs. I didn't need any of that. I just needed to change the way I ate. And not only the way that I ate, the way that I specifically for my body ate. And that's how I got down to the DNA part of it. Yeah.
That's incredible, because like I've been challenged by weight my whole life. It was one of my unhealthy coping mechanisms, is to just turn to, chocolate and sugar and all kinds of things, just basically stuff the emotions, and you get that sense of that satisfaction when you indulge in something that, oh, I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm going to do it anyways. It's like anytime you try to take something away from yourself, you want it more.
Exactly.
So having a program specifically for your needs, that's incredible. So how does that process work?
Yeah, so when women, most of the time they do come to me because they want to lose weight. But in the background, it's like, oh, yeah, I do have an autoimmune, or oh, yeah, I have this symptom or something else going on. but in their mind, initially, they want to just come to lose weight. So they work with me over a 4-month period. And during that time, I take a hair mineral analysis, and that can tell you a whole bunch of stuff about what's going on in your body. You know, if you have too much copper, maybe there's an estrogen problem. So I look at all the data, what's going on with the client, and then I create a strategic program for them that includes exercise, specific meals for them to eat. And I'm not rigid about, okay, you need to eat this at this time of the day, but just more of what is your body need? What does your body need at this time? Does it need more protein, more carbohydrates, more fat? And how do you create that sense of balance? I help them do all of that. But at the core, just like you said, when you're talking about that need for sugar or and so forth, at the core of all of the work that we do is mindset. So I can teach you about metabolism, hormones, inflammation. I can do the analysis, but if you aren't ready, the changes that need to be made, that's when we often get that block. So not only do I start off with the hair mineral analysis, we also start in the beginning of the 4 months working on mindset, like what is really going on that's causing you to continue to have that block in your body. For me, it was not enough. I'm like, I've always had enough food to eat. I've always, accomplished what I needed to accomplish. But at the root, it was like that fear of not having enough. And that was keeping me stuck. So we try to get to that root cause for my clients. And once we get to that root cause, that's when the weight starts coming off. And you can marry the nutrition with the mindset.
Yeah, that's incredible. You had said that you had, been to all these doctors and invested all this money with no answers. How did you start pinpointing like the certain foods? Was there like did you like detox completely and then start introducing foods specifically, or?
Yes, I did. So I did find a chiropractor slash naturopath. He's like 2,000 miles away. And it was an awesome springboard. I know, awesome springboard for me. But it was a 2-pager. It was like, yeah, eat this, don't eat that, you'll feel better. But that just wasn't enough for me. I needed that holistic approach. I needed the mindset work. I needed to know if I can't eat this, can't eat this, like, is that all I can eat? What do I need to do? So that became more or less the springboard of how I got through the process of figuring out what needed to happen. I was a vegetarian, so I thought I was eating okay, but I was what one of my friends coined it carpetarian. So you know how you can replace meat with carbohydrates. I was doing a lot of that. But once I discovered, as you asked, once I discovered specifically what wasn't working in my body, for me, it was peaches, certain apples from certain trees, cabbage, things that I thought was good for my body. Those were the things that weren't working for me. So once I discovered that, yes, I pulled all those things back, all those things out, but I also did a complete detox. So I lost a ton of weight. But my body just needed to rest. My body needed to get all of the sugar, the processed foods, all the extra carbohydrates, fats, dairy, needed to get all of that out of my system. And then now I'm able to eat pretty much whatever I want, whenever I want to, as long as I'm keeping that balance. But pulling things out was really the key. And that is something that I work on with my clients on. Like, let's get all of that dairy, the gluten, the grains, and so forth out. Allow your body to rest. And then you start adding things back in, and that's when you start to see the difference.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that recently. Is that what you call intuitive eating?
Yeah, I haven't coined it in intuitive eating or thought of it from that perspective, but it's more, I think of it around us all being so unique. So identical twins, they need to eat differently. Your body does not digest, everyone's body does not digest food the same exact way. So it's more the process of learning what works for you. And it may not be a long-term thing. It's what's working for your body right now to help you kickstart either the weight loss, the balance of hormones, or getting rid of the inflammation in the body.
Yeah. Did you find that when you were eating unhealthy, and you had said that you were a vegetarian, but you had turned to carbs,
Yeah.
did you with the mindset connection, did you figure out why you kept eating what you thought was healthy but ended up being unhealthy? Was was it a tied to an emotional hurt or pain or some kind of something that you were holding on to that you didn't want to let go?
Yeah, so I think so. It was a couple of different things. So again, that feeling of not enough, like, I need to eat this right now because it may be gone, or I feel like I am not enough right now, so I'm just going to eat. I also aligned it with boredom. And that was kind of an easy fix because there's no reason at 10 o'clock at night I'm super hungry for, like, a grilled cheese sandwich. It's because of the commercial and I'm bored. So the feeling of not enough, and also that feeling of boredom, and then replacing it with things like hobbies that I used to love before, reading or painting or things like that. Replacing that boredom with different hobbies was a way that I was able to work around that and not allow those triggers to get me to eat. One thing that I did for my clients is she's like, I have kids, I can't get rid of all this stuff. So on like her cookie jar and stuff, I had for her to put I love and then her name on the cookie jar. So just it's kind of helped her reset in her mind. I'm doing this for me because I love me and because I love my body. So working around those types of mind think set things I think are so important for people.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Because I know for me, I struggled with unforgiveness towards myself for having two
Mhm.
abortions before I was 17, and I didn't realize what an impact that had. So I was eating. I had three unhealthy coping mechanisms. One of them was overeating, and I would literally make like these huge meals. I would cook to try like people pleasing, like, oh, I'm going to provide for my family, and we're going to have all these wonderful foods, and I'm going to cook for them and make everything from scratch. I remember I subscribed to a magazine called Taste of Home.
Oh, I love
And
that magazine.
yeah, and I would get a new recipe. I would plan my meals out for 2 weeks in advance, and we would have like, the meat and three vegetables and two starches, and we would have a salad and we would have dessert every single night. Seven
Wow.
days a week. We didn't even have leftovers.
Oh my
It's like,
goodness. Lisa,
and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't lose weight.
that was superwoman. You should have lost it
I
just from
know.
running around the kitchen. No.
I know, right? And what I thought was healthy, nutritious food, it was packaged. It was, canned vegetables versus fresh or frozen, or, sauces. And when I started reading labels, when I said, okay, this is enough, I started going on a diabetic watch and a heart healthy heart watch, because I was getting chest pains, and the doctor's like, oh well, this runs in your family, let's do this. You got to start watching what you eat. You're considered obese on the charts. You want to be sure that you are eating healthy. So I started looking at labels, and what a chore that is, reading all those labels,
I
but
know.
so much hidden sugar. And I realized one of the culprits for me is sugar. I mean, I can eat sugar, but as you were saying earlier, what you pay attention to your body, how do you feel? And
Mhm.
you're talking about eating the peaches from the different trees. Like there's certain things that I can eat. I can eat a Reese's peanut butter cup with no problem whatsoever. I can polish off the whole bag and I enjoy it. But I don't
Yeah,
do it every single
right,
day.
right.
And so when I think about things that trigger me, yeah, I've been more in tune with that lately. And then I'll realize, especially if it's not a fresh item, wait a minute, what was the ingredient in this? Because I don't understand why it bothered me so much. And then I'll see one of the hidden ingredients, one of the processed things, or the natural flavor, things
Yes,
like that
yes.
really create a huge problem for me. And actually I ended up getting diverticulitis because of it. And, the inflammation, who knew that the inflammation in your body could be so much? But then
Mhm.
again, when you have that mindset of, oh, I'm restricted, I can't eat that, your
Yeah.
mind flips that and says, oh, I'm not restricted. You're going to eat it because you can do whatever you want to
What?
do.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you go in that cycle. I love that tip about putting your name on the cookie jar, and like,
yeah.
I love, and then your name, because it's why are you doing this? Why do you want to take care of yourself and be healthy and look fit and, have the energy that you need by eating healthy? And I wonder why in our society they make it
Mm,
so easy to get processed foods, but fresh foods,
hard.
have you ever seen dragon fruit?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay,
I
I
have.
saw it.
There's
My
an Asian
husband and I
market.
went,
Yeah,
yeah,
go ahead.
my husband and I saw that at the grocery store for the first time today.
Oh, did
And it
you?
was like, it was cool looking. It was really pretty. And I'm like, how would you even eat that? I have no idea. I've never seen it. I'd have to Google it, right? I don't know what the health benefits are or where it came from, but the price was $6 and it was the size of a small orange.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can get like, in comparison, I could get I'm trying to think of something unhealthy, a bag of chips.
A repeat
That's,
cups. It's a repeat
a bag of Reese's peanut butter cups. And I just thought that's over, I think $6 for one little piece of fruit was very expensive. And I think of a family of feeding teenage boys. They're not gonna
Yes.
be able to buy all
Had
that
them.
dragon fruit.
Yeah. Yeah, I had three teenagers at once. It's so but I'm reading now by Dr. Carolyn Leaf, and it's all, and I've known this before, and I've read tons of books, but hers is just coming to mind. But it's all about the dollar. It's all about the
Mhm.
dollar. They're able to process and make the foods faster and cheaper, with lower nutrient density, and sell it to us. And then it's marketed to you as well. You think one of the first signs that a kid can read are the golden arches, because it's always in your face and always coming at you. So that's why that's why we're eating the way that we're eating. People often are like, well, I can't afford a good cut of meat. So instead of eating a pound of that meat, maybe you're just eating, a little smaller slice, and then piling up on the vegetables. There's always ways to balance that when the dollar, which I know is so important right now, especially with gas prices, when the dollar may be prohibitive to what you can eat. And I know so many people now that are into gardening as well. So like, at
Mhm.
least in the spring or summer, grow your own tomatoes, which are super easy to grow. If I can grow them, you can grow them. Tomatoes, bell peppers, or beets. I still have beets outside right now, and I'm in Ohio. So just things like that can be alternatives, but looking for what is going to support you long term versus that really quick hit, for things like you said that have natural flavorings in it. I also tell people if it has OSE, like OS, like fructose and stuff, don't buy that either, because it's all packed with sugar, and it's so unhelpful. It's like we're setting ourselves up in this system where we're eating the food. So then we need the doctor, then we need to go have surgery. And then it's like this, then we need to take the medicine. It's like this vicious cycle. And when you start eating the aisle, that's when you can find that your health, you don't need to visit the doctor as much. You won't need medication and so forth. So that's another thing I always tell my clients: eat the aisle, shop the aisle rather when you're buying your food.
Yeah. That's a great tip. Thank you for that. And I know that's important, because I know a lot of the listeners out there have this unhealthy coping mechanism of overeating, turning to food for comfort.
Yeah.
As you said, like eating at 10 o'clock at night, or maybe you get into a disagreement with somebody, or you're, focusing on I like to focus on my wins every night before I go to bed. Like, what can I celebrate today? But a
Oh,
lot of people will celebrate or won't celebrate it. They'll focus on what went wrong and like what was negative. And it's so important to flip that and celebrate your wins and really understand what you're thinking, so you can get past these unforgiving moments that we have, especially towards ourselves. So
yeah.
if you're turning to food in an unhealthy way, pay attention to that. What kind of a tip would you offer somebody? Like, say they had lots of drama going around now because of the holidays are starting to come. I'm in upstate New York. Our weather's starting to get cold, so more people are going to be isolated inside.
Right.
But just the stressors, you think about, Thanksgiving is in a couple of weeks, and then the Christmas celebration, and then New Year's, and this and that, and people who have lost loved ones, if the holidays are going to be different. So there's going to be a lot of emotional triggers for us. What would be the best advice that you can give to help with those emotional triggers so that we don't overeat?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. So The one is accountability. And first of all, let me step back and say, I think you need to work hard at trying to figure out what is going to support you best. Because I may offer something like, yeah, I don't have anyone, or that may not work for me. So doing the hard work of sitting down and thinking about what you're thinking about and thinking about how, what type of support you need, I think that's the first thing. But one thing that works for me is accountability. So I don't need someone to call me every day. I don't need to be able to call them. I just need to know that you might call me and ask me, did I eat the Reese cup? Because that's my favorite too. So having someone act as an accountability partner for you. Another thing I think is really important is to stop thinking about what you cannot eat and then focus on what you can. Like, there are thousands and thousands of different vegetables. Dragon fruit, you just found dragon fruit this year. There's a ton of really, really good items out there. Think about how you can switch that traditional food into something that's a little more helpful. So in African American tradition, a lot of the beans and greens and cooked with a ton of meat products. We don't do that. We use vegetable broth and a lot of good seasonings. We pull dairy out of our sweet potato souffle and our macaroni and cheese now. And if you do it right, it really is good. So stop thinking about, again, what you can't do or what you can't eat, or you're giving up a favorite, and think about how you can replace that favorite with something more helpful. So those two things, I think, especially during this time of year, can really help us get through the storm of the holidays.
Yeah, excellent tips. I love that. And again, it's all about thinking about what you're thinking and
Exactly.
flipping it.
Yeah.
Flip on what you can have, what you can enjoy. So I love that. And you said you have a 4-month program. What's the best way for someone to connect with you to get into your program?
Sure. They just go to my website, which is Stephanie Lynn Shaw. And I'm sure it'll be in the show notes. They can connect with my on that page. There's a link for them to connect with me, and I'd love to set up a call, even if they don't become a client. A lot of times, I have really great connections in the industry, so there may be something that I can refer out. My role is to just support folks, so they can give me a call. But again, I do work with folks over a 4-month period.
Awesome. And yes, I'll definitely be in the remarks, and then in the links wherever you find this on social media, you'll have the links to connect with Stephanie. I highly encourage you to do so. And if you know somebody who's really interested in learning about their DNA makeup and how food affects them and getting into a plan so that they can have a better health and just have more energy and the more ability to understand, to really focus on that mindset, to understand, is there something that they're holding on to, maybe some unforgiveness that they're holding on into their heart, maybe they had a relationship issue, maybe they don't like their job or something, and that's propelling them to want to overeat, to want to grab for those sweets at night, or like Stephanie had shared, maybe you're just bored and you need some more stimulation, you need to get back to who you are, back to that inner child, that inner girl of who you are, so that you can find the love, find your passion, and replace your passion instead of turning to that food as that replacement. So a lot of great information. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for being here. And thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to click on the link to check the description. And remember, it's all a matter of the heart.